Make sure y'all stay on point with the Puncher's Point. What is good, y'all? Welcome back to the Puncher's Point. The Bronze Bomber defeats Derek Chisora by split decision. And the question is, has Deontay Wilder secured a future heavyweight title shot after this win against Derek Chisora? Now, I know what y'all are going to say. He hasn't earned that shot by beating a old Derek Chisora. I didn't say earned, did I? I said, has he secured that title shot? And that's what we're going to talk about. We're going to talk about that. We're going to answer that question at the end of the episode. But overall, we got to go through the grading. We got to go through what happened in this fight. And we got to go through how this fight was an absolute war. I mean, both these guys just went guns blazing. They hit each other with nothing but haymakers. I mean, we're possibly looking at the fight of the year when it's all said and done. There's a lot of different events and different moments that happen in this fight. We're going to talk about some of those things. But the truth of the matter is, not only could this be fight of the year, rounds 8 and 11 could also be the rounds of the year. And I'm going to explain why. But Deontay Wilder defeats Derek Chisora by split decision. Now, if y'all ask me, I had a 114, 113 Deontay Wilder. I think Deontay Wilder edged it out. I think he got that win. I think the judges were right. A lot of those judges had a 115, 113. I think that's fair. I could see, I could see 115, 113. I had 114, 113. I actually gave a 10-10 round. I usually never do, but that round 11 where they knocked each other down, I had to give it a 10-10 round. I couldn't really lean it on one guy, so I gave that round a 10-10. But regardless, we're not here to talk about how I saw the fight. We're going to talk about all these moments that happened in the fight. We're going to talk about the grades. We're going to talk about the key moments in this fight. We're going to talk about whether or not Deontay Wilder secured himself a heavyweight title shot. But with all that being said, let's go to the strategy grade. If you ask me what I think the strategy grade was between the two fighters, I'm giving it 8 out of 10. The keys to victory that I had for Deontay Wilder was first, jab and stay on the outside. A lot of the times you would see Deontay Wilder moving around that ring, and Derek Chisora was chasing him. He did a very good job of throwing that jab and then trying to follow with that right hand. He did a really good job of moving around the ring. There were some times where he would also cut the angles on Derek Chisora as well, where you would see Derek Chisora try to engage in the pressure, and Deontay Wilder would kind of sidestep him a little bit. So I do like that he was able to utilize that key. The second key I had was throw 2-3 punch combinations and move out the way. Deontay Wilder did that. He did a good job of throwing the jab and trying to follow with the overhand right. Now, the third key to victory I had was set up the left hook, and he was setting up all for the overhand right. And I wish he set up for the left hook a lot more in this fight. He threw the left hook. He would throw it as like a check hook, and I think he even got a knockdown with that left hook. However, the left hook was kind of like the little cherry on top because all the icing on that cake was his overhand right. I mean, he just constantly threw that overhand right, and you could tell that overhand right was getting to Derek Chisora. You could tell Derek Chisora, when he got clipped that overhand right, he could feel that power. And when Deontay Wilder knocked him down in the 8th round, and when he knocked him down in the 11th round, you could tell that overhand right was getting to Derek Chisora. Derek Chisora's problem was when Derek Chisora had his back against the ropes and Deontay Wilder would clip him with his back against those ropes and Derek Chisora would get rocked, Deontay Wilder would just do what he does best, which is to suffocate the space on you, throw that overhand right, and he sent Derek Chisora through those ropes twice. Actually, technically 3 times. One of those times, the referee deducted a point off of Wilder for pushing. Now, here's my opinion on that. If you guys go and look at that fight, Deontay Wilder did a lot of pushing. I'm not going to deny that. He did a lot of pushing in those earlier rounds. I think the problem was there was so much clinching, there was so much pushing that the referee got tired of it. And when the referee got tired of it, I believe once Deontay Wilder got Derek Chisora on those ropes and once Derek Chisora fell through those ropes, I believe that was the referee's job or it was his time to deduct that point from Deontay Wilder. Now, do I agree with that? No, I don't think that was really a push. I don't think you need to deduct a point off of Wilder for that because I don't think there needed to be a point deducted. It's not like he literally pushed him through the ropes. Wilder has done that many times. You can go look at the Stavern fight. In the Stavern fight, he did the same exact thing. Got Stavern against those ropes, unleashed a melee of just haymakers, and Stavern went through the ropes off of the pressure alone. That's what happened with Derek Chisora 3 times in that fight. 2 of them were knockdowns. One of them was the deduction of the point for pushing, which I didn't agree with. But I believe the reason why he deducted that point, it led to all the things that happened before. In the first round, both these guys, they got into a little bit of a heated exchange, and Deontay Wilder's like pushing him almost over the ropes. That I don't agree with. I feel like there was so much pushing from Deontay Wilder that the ref was just getting annoyed. And when that happened in that moment, the ref found an opportunity to take a point away from Deontay Wilder. I think Deontay Wilder did a lot of pushing, don't get me wrong, but I don't think in that specific moment it was worth deduction of a point. That's my personal opinion. Y'all can disagree. And if you disagree, let me know in the comments. I wish I would have seen him set up that left hook a lot more. It seemed like he was setting up all for the overhand right. He landed the left hook. He clipped him with the left hook. He would use as a check hook. But I wanted to see him set up that left hook a lot more. But regardless, he did use all three keys to victory. Now, as far as Derek Chisora, the three keys to victory I had was use the jab to work onto the inside. And I believe instead of using the jab to work onto the inside, Derek Chisora just went full on to the inside. He just tried to use his pressure to get into the inside. And there were times where that would work. But I feel like Derek Chisora really didn't use his jab the way I wanted to see him use his jab. Again, Derek Chisora, he could have used that jab to go to the body. He could have forced Deontay Wilder to lower his hand and clip him up to the top. And there were moments where Derek Chisora would clip Deontay Wilder as well. He knocked him down in the 11th round, I believe. So when you go and you look at it, the reason why he was able to clip him was because Derek Chisora did a very good job of going to that body, but not also going to the body, also using that right hook and using that right hand. That right hand was a big key for Derek Chisora in this fight. That right hand was a really good key for Derek Chisora hurting Deontay Wilder. And one of the other keys I had was set up that right hook. I think he did that to perfection. I think Derek Chisora had a lot of moments where he would clip Deontay Wilder with either a right straight or a right hook, and Deontay Wilder would just try to lean on those ropes to keep himself up. And that's always been my problem with Deontay Wilder. Whenever he gets hit, he likes to lean onto those ropes. He likes to rely on those ropes a little too much. But Derek Chisora knew that. He brought the pressure to him on those ropes. And in round 3, I'm not going to lie to you guys, round 3, maybe round 4. Round 4, I'm not going to lie to you guys. I thought Derek Chisora was just hammering Deontay Wilder on those ropes. And it's because of that right hand. That right hand was the tool that worked for Derek Chisora, especially in that 4th round. Derek Chisora really used that right hook, and he used it very efficiently, and he was able to clip Deontay Wilder and rock him twice with that right hook. So the right hand was very effective for Derek Chisora, but the right hook in itself was the big punch that was landing on Deontay Wilder. And then the other key to victory that I had for Derek Chisora was use level changes and feints, and that's something he could have done more of. He could have used more level changes and feints, and I believe if he did that, he would have took a couple of these rounds, and he probably would have won that fight. But overall, he used 2 out of 3 keys, so I can't even be mad at him. Overall, in general, I give the strategy an 8. I think both these guys, they started off very messy, but they cleaned it up as the fight progressed, and you could tell that they really started relying on throwing those power punches, setting up the power punches. There were some things that both of them could have did a lot better of, like Deontay Wilder leaning on the ropes, Derek Chisora using feints and level changes. But regardless, I think both these guys stuck to the strategy pretty well. So I'm going to give the strategy an 8 out of 10. Now, excitement. I mean, can we give it anything more than a 10? Because this was an exciting fight from round 1 all the way to round 12. Look, these guys, even though they started off messy, it was still an exciting fight. And when they started landing those haymakers, I mean, you could tell they were fireworks in that arena. Everybody was on the edge of their seat. Everybody was standing on their feet. I would say after round 3, that's when that fight started picking up. Right at round 3 or after round 3, fight really just shot up to the stratosphere. Both these guys were like, let's just make this a war. Let's make this the fight of the year. And let's go in there and let's try to take each other's heads off. That's what both these guys did very well in this fight. And again, I talked about the tools that they had. I talked about how efficient both of them were. But they went into this fight and they were like, look, we're going to go guns blazing. This is supposed to be a war. This is what they're expecting. We're 2 power punchers. Let's go in there and try to knock each other's blocks off. From what they were talking, they said, look, it's not going to go the distance. And it did go the distance, but this fight shouldn't have gone the distance with the punches that they were throwing. I mean, just haymaker after haymaker, hooks after hooks, straights after straights. Anything you could have asked for, these guys delivered. It had the drama in the first round. It had the knockdowns. It had the point deduction. It was a close fight. You got to give it a 10. You have to give it a 10. There wasn't one guy controlling this entire fight. Both of these guys had multiple moments in this fight. Both of these guys had many opportunities where you thought that they were just going to close the show and they were going to secure the early victory, get the TKO or get the KO, and it didn't happen. So the fact that this fight went 12 rounds makes it even more exciting. So in my opinion, I got to give it a 10. I do think that when it's all said and done, Ring Magazine is going to call this the fight of the year. And then we could talk about round 8, where Deontay Wilder drops Derek Chisora, and then he gets deducted a point for pushing. We could talk about that a little bit. He drops Derek Chisora in round 8, and he hits him with that overhand right, and he gets him on the ground. Derek Chisora gets back up. Derek Chisora fell through those ropes, and his cornerman kind of kept him up. Again, that's going to be something a little controversial when it comes to a lot of the boxing fans that saw this fight. But regardless, Derek Chisora got back up, and then it almost happened again, and then that's when the point deduction happened. So it had that drama in the 8th round. So you could point to the 8th round as a round that could potentially be round of the year. But then you look at round 11. In round 11, I mean, we look at Deontay Wilder knocking down Derek Chisora again. And then Derek Chisora, right after he gets up, clips Deontay Wilder and knocks him down. 2 knockdowns in 1 round. I haven't seen that in a very long time. And in my opinion, round 11 could potentially be round of the year when the Ring Awards come next time around. So in my opinion, yeah, I got to give it a 10. You had 2 round of the year candidates. You had a fight of the year candidate. It was in England, and you had the entire O2 arena just on the edge of their feet. Yeah, I'm going to give it a 10 out of 10. I don't think you can give it any grade lower. Now, stakes. Here's where it gets a little bit difficult. Stakes, I got to give it a 7. Here's the reason why. These guys, they're going to have this fight, but it was kind of a bounce back fight for both these guys. Derek Chisora was on I believe, 3-fight win streak. And Deontay Wilder, after being Tyrell Anthony Herdone, this was kind of like his first real fight back. And there were a lot of questions that were going to have to be answered in this fight, like whether or not Deontay Wilder has improved. Is Derek Chisora going to be the threat that we think he could be? And that's where this became very difficult. I believe that Derek Chisora showed that he could hang with one of the strongest punchers in boxing history. I think Derek Chisora proved that he can deliver a great fight at the age of 42. And I think Deontay Wilder proved that he's got a little bit of gas left in the tank. Now, I'm not saying that he's going to go in there, he's going to defeat Usyk or defeat Dubois and become heavyweight champion of the world. But the question still remains. Has Deontay Wilder secured himself a heavyweight title shot? And again, we're going to answer that at the end of the episode. But if we're looking at it right now, the stakes, it's too blurry. That's the thing. The stakes, what was on the line, there was no title on the line. It wasn't like winner's going to get a number 1 contender shot or they're going to become the number 1 contender. It wasn't anything like that. It was basically a fight to bounce these guys back up. It was basically a fight to see how they can elevate one another. It was kind of a feel-good fight for both of them. You know, Deontay Wilder went 12 rounds in a war, proved that he's got a chin, took some very clean shots from Derek Chisora. Derek Chisora proved the exact same thing, that he's got the heart that if he gets dropped, he can get back up. And I think both of these guys had to prove in this fight that they are who they say they are. Derek Chisora is all about war, and Deontay Wilder proved that he's still got some gas in that tank, that some of these big negatives, some of these big weaknesses that have been played throughout his career, he can rewrite that connotation. And I think he did that to an extent in this fight. So as far as stakes, I got to give it a 7. I think it was a feel-good fight for both of them. I think it was a bounce-back fight for both of them. I think it was a fight that both of them needed to win, but at the same time, I don't think it was a fight, when you talk about stakes, that was big enough to be changing the heavyweight division. And then last but not least, impact. Where would I put the impact? Well, in my opinion, I got to give the impact a 7.5 out of 10. Look, I mean, We don't know what's going to happen next. But what we know is this: Deontay Wilder is slowly creeping back into that championship picture. Okay. And there's some big fights that you can make happen with him. I truly believe, and I'm not saying I want to see this fight, but I truly believe that him and Fury facing off for a fourth time would be more intriguing than the hype that it was for the third time, I guess you would say. Even after the whole cheating allegations that Wilder is making against Fury, and you think about the past that they had, Fury coming back in less than a week. I mean, they could align for a fourth fight, but then you got to think about the other avenues. Alexander Usyk has called him out, and Deontay Wilder has said he's been down to fight Usyk. You got to look at Anthony Joshua. Anthony Joshua was at that fight watching. You got to think about that for a second. So Deontay Wilder, I mean, he's got some possibilities. How far can those possibilities go? I don't know. So I'm not sure if any of those fights are ever going to be set in stone, which is why I can honestly say that the impact isn't going to be as great as people think. That's why I give it a 7.5 out of 10, because it has the potential. This fight, Deontay Wilder winning this fight has the potential to do more for him, but I don't know if that's going to happen. So as far as impact, I have to give it a 7.5 out of 10. And so overall, when you put all those grades together, the overall fight grade for Deontay Wilder versus Derek Chisora is going to be 8.13 out of 10. I think when this is all said and done, this is going to be one of the top fights of 2026 from the Puncher's Point. But I agree with these a lot. I think the strategy was good, so I give it an 8 out of 10 from both guys. Again, fight of the year. That's 10 out of 10 as far as excitement. Stakes, besides, reputations and legacies and, feel-good fights and a fight that could get their morale up, I got to give it a 7 out of 10. As far as impact, I got to give it a 7.5 out of 10 because there's possibilities, but again, those possibilities aren't really too clear. So I have to give it an 8.13 out of 10. I think that's pretty fair. Now, what is next for Deontay Wilder? Well, I gave some possibilities. So the question is, what's next for Deontay Wilder? And in my opinion, if you ask me who I want to see Deontay Wilder face, I want to see him fight the winner of Dubois and Fabio Wardley. And the reason why I want to see that fight is because I do think that Deontay Wilder can make a run at one more title shot. And again, do I like his chances against Dubois? Not right now. Do I like his chances against Wardley? Not right now. But do I give Deontay Wilder a shot? Absolutely. I think that's a more doable fight to make than somebody like a Usyk or somebody like a Fury or somebody like a Joshua. That takes more negotiation because they're two big stars. When you have somebody like Dubois or Fabio Wardley, when you have those two guys and that's who you're trying to get leverage for a fight against, you're Deontay Wilder, for crying out loud. That's an easy fight to make. And Matchroom and Queensberry, they've done plenty of business before. So for me, I think that fight could happen. And I would bank that fight could happen. I think that's a fight that you can make. And again, you make it for the, I believe, IBF championship that they're fighting for. I could be wrong on that. Correct me if I'm wrong in the comments. But whoever wins that fight between Dubois and Fabio Wardley, I truly think Wilder has a good pitch to make that fight happen. Again, has he earned it? No, I don't think you can earn that type of fight from beating somebody like a 42-year-old Derek Chisora barely by split decision. But because you're Deontay Wilder, because you beat a name like Derek Chisora, now that puts you back into negotiations for one of those title shots. So I think that it's possible he could have secured a future opportunity at a World Heavyweight Championship. But then again, you got to also think Fury fights in 6 days from this episode being uploaded. Fury fights pretty soon. Does Fury cut into the front of the line? Anthony Joshua just had that win against Jake Paul. Does he cut to the front of the line? What I'm trying to say is this. Neither of these guys have earned a heavyweight title shot. Let's keep it a buck. Neither of these guys have earned that shot. But what they have done is they have heightened their chances of securing that spot. Again, you beat Jake Paul. Again, that was a fight all over Netflix. Tyson Fury is going to go in there against some Russian guy. And if he beats him, Tyson Fury is going to be talked about again. Deontay Wilder just went to London and defeated Derek Chisora on his own soil. So these are things that are going to raise their hype. They're going to raise their stock. And these are things that might end up getting them cut to the front of the line instead of Usyk fighting somebody like Moses Atama, instead of him fighting somebody like Fabio Wardley. Wilder, Fury, and Joshua are still the three big guys in the heavyweight division with Usyk. So when you go and you look at it, them coming back and them doing what they're doing right now, building up this hype in the heavyweight division that's kind of lacked a lot of hype recently, you could look at that and you can say, okay, have they potentially cut the line from a lot of these prospects, and have they officially put themselves in position for a world heavyweight title shot? That's the question that needs to be answered. I think that Deontay Wilder has put himself in a good position to get a future world heavyweight title shot. Now, I would love to see Usyk fight guys like Fabio Wardley, Moses Utama. I would love to see him fight guys like Ajit Caballel. These are guys I would like to see Usyk fight. But again, if you ask Usyk, I think as of right now, he's trying to go after. He's called out Wilder multiple times. He said he really wants to fight him. Wilder has agreed. I think that fight could be made. But the problem is, will it be made? I don't know. I think Wilder's got a better shot at Dubois and Fabio Wardley. And I think that's a fight that Wilder has a better chance of winning versus Usyk. Because I'm not going to lie, there were a lot of moments where I was looking at that fight with Wilder, and I'm like, if that was Usyk in the ring, he would have took advantage of it. So there's a lot of question marks still around Deontay Wilder. But again, it's a decent win against Derek Chisora. I know Derek Chisora is 42 years old. I know you can put a little asterisk on it if you want. But again, it's a good win to kind of get Deontay Wilder back onto the path of potentially becoming a world heavyweight champion. I think it's a good win. It's a good little step. It's a good little stepping stone to get where you need to be. But yeah, I would say give him the winner of Dubois and Fabio Wardley. I would say you can also give him somebody like Ajit Caballel. Again, there's so many fights you can make with Wilder, but yeah, I think the winner of Dubois and Fabio Wardley is probably the way to go. Again, the big heavyweight giants, they're coming back. They're trying to make one last little reach for a world heavyweight championship. The question is, can they do it? And we're going to have to find out in due time. But with that being said, continue to tune into the Puncher's Point. Continue to tune into the YouTube, the podcast platform, and the social medias as well. Make sure y'all continue to like, share, subscribe, comment. Go tell your friends about the Puncher's Point. Anybody who loves boxing, make sure y'all tell them about the Puncher's Point. Anybody who is trying to learn about the sport of boxing and is trying to become a fan of the sport of boxing, tell them to come to the Puncher's Point. And last but not least, to all you fans that continue to revisit, I appreciate y'all. I love y'all. But last but not least, make sure y'all continue to stay on point with the Puncher's Point.